just go ahead and record. Right. So we are thrilled to have you all here with us. Our website, www.pinetlearning.com, has more information about our offerings, and we are excited to be part of your career growth journey. We are privileged to have Adedamola Folarin with us. I'll just briefly introduce him, then we can start. So Adedamola Folarin is a thought leader in business analysis, with a wealth of experience in enterprise management, IT business analysis, and IT project management, with a bachelor degree in engineering and master's degree in risk management. He is also a certified business analysis and has a professional certification in agile and enterprise architecture, which includes Safe4 certified practitioner, Safe4 agilist, and advanced scrum master. So he's currently the director of learning at Pinet Learning, and without further ado, I will just give him the floor and say welcome, Damola, and it's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks, John. Thanks, John, for the introduction. I hope you're all happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. I see Matt. Assuming that's Matthew, Wahab, and Oluwakayode. Let me just hear from you in the chat section. If you're happy to be here. I also assume that this is a focused conversation with people who are interested in the business analysis bootcamp. John, am I right?
Yes, certainly. So
okay, cool. All right. So Matthew, Wahab, Kayode, can you hear us? I'm happy to be okay. Cool. So I see. At least that's a good confirmation. You're welcome. While we wait for others to join, I believe others will join. I will try to play a video just to sort of set the context right before we go into the interactions. Because again, it's going to be an interaction. It's not really a one-way conversation. It's going to be me hearing from you, you hearing from me, and just having a good time and sharing knowledge. So let me see. I'm going to give it a try. I hope the video plays well. Let me share my screen now. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so please confirm that the audio is also clear. Let me play.
Yeah,
you hear that?
Yes, yeah, we did.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start the video again, and yeah. Then after the video, we're just going to have a very brief conversation on what you, one or two things that you picked from the video with regards to business analysis. So I'll start the video again.
It is only 45 days since the gardener George planted tulips in the front garden of Mrs. Johnson's house, and the flowers have died. She became so mad and called George for a serious conversation.
Why did my flowers die?
Because of the sun. This flower just lives in shadows.
Thus, you shouldn't have planted them.
Oh no, I would never deny a request from you, lady.
Mrs. Johnson's garden lacked the practice of business analysis, a discipline that takes care of understanding the needs, evaluating the pros and cons of each different alternative, and recommending the most appropriate solution.
George shouldn't have planted the tulips.
But how I was supposed to know?
If George had used business analysis techniques, he could have questioned to understand the real expectations of Mrs. Johnson's and presented different proposals in a structured way with analysis of the costs and benefits of each one.
It's true. I didn't even think about that.
Following business analysis principles, Mrs. Johnson could also have made her request to George in a different way, specifying the requirements of what she really wanted.
How could I do that?
Instead of tulips, she could have asked for colorful flowers that would last all year and give little maintenance work. George would be responsible for addressing her needs using his knowledge to choose the most suitable flower.
It's true. I didn't think about it.
Another option would be to hire the services of a landscaper, a professional with techniques able to understand the needs and evaluate the best alternative for the gardener to implement. Good landscapers have already developed several projects, and their experience helps a lot.
But paying for a landscaper must be expensive, right?
Spending on the wrong flowers isn't cheap either, is it? It would be better to invest only once and get the job well done.
It's true.
As in the gardener of Mrs. Johnson, your company needs to understand its problems and specify the solutions that add more value to the business. Areas that request services very often and have very specific characteristics can become experts in making good requirements, making clear their real needs to be able to charge for the result from their providers. If there are many requesting areas and the provider has characteristics of a subject matter expert, ideally, the provider offers business analysis as part of its services, helping customers to better understand their needs and solution alternatives so they can make the best decisions. When customers and providers are many and communication between them is complicated, an intermediate role can aid integration by translating information into a language that both ones can understand. See that there are several possibilities for business analysis to help your organization. Choose the most appropriate shape for your situation and watch your business flourish more and more every day.
Okay. Did that go well for everyone? Were you all able to, hear it clearly, see the video, and make out one or two stuff from it? The audio was good. Was the audio for the video good? All true?
It was breaking a bit, but I could see what was in the video.
Okay, was breaking a bit. Were you able to hear what was being said also there, Not too clear. Oh, okay. Because I get that feedback most of the time. So I think it will be just network and sometimes echo. All right, but were you able to make sense of the video? That will go to Wahab Kayode. Yes, was able to take out key points. Okay, cool. So do you want to drop the key points that you're able to take out? Kayode Wahab. I think there was one person before, probably lost. That's Matthew. Wahab and Oluwakayode. What would you say were your key takeaways? Can I just drop it in the chat box before I sort of just summarize it? Majorly, business analysis centered around requirements. Okay, cool. Spot on. Yeah, Oluwakayode. What were you able to pick from there? Alternative means. Okay, good. Yes. So this really set the context for the conversation, like I said. And you're correct. You're both correct. business analysis about providing alternative means or even recommending alternative approach to problems that organization or stakeholders within organizations might have. But one key thing that really came true is that you would see that the woman herself, she knew she had the problem, but she needed someone to really help her. One, clarify, rectify what her needs were. She wanted a flower. She didn't know what the best flower would be. She wanted a flower that would last all seasons, all year long. She wanted to do it within budget. But unfortunately, she got tulips, and then it was not tulips that was going to serve her needs. And then that's one of the major value that business analysis brings on board. And then there are other different takeaways there. You could see that she could engage the flower expert and talk to the person, or even get someone that is an expert in clarifying requirements or an horticulture that could have come in, clarify the requirement very well, and then pass it on to the service delivery guy. Okay, what says getting customers' requirements to minimize cost and make it efficient and understand customers' need within budget. Yeah. So a lot of the time, what business analysis is about understanding what the problem is. It sounds simple when you hear it, just one liner. Let's understand what the problem is, but it's more like an art. You have to be very skillful, because a lot of time, yes, the end users, the stakeholders, the customers, they have a problem. They're not able to define it in a way that would ensure that you provide the right solutions. And that's where the business analyst comes in to one sort of elicit very skillfully and with prescribed techniques, try to understand what the problem is, take that through some form of analysis, distill that, specify it, document it, clarify, just refine and all that, so that we're sure that when we're providing solutions or recommending solutions, we're sure that we understand what the problem statement is, and our solution recommendation is actually spot on. All right. I thought that was a good way to just start off and also to break the ice. So I'll project just something I want us to talk through very quickly today, and then we can sort of have good interaction. Let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? So I'm assuming that you can see my screen clearly. Okay, yes. So just the focus of this our engagement will be just to talk through what the our business analysis bootcamp looks like at BNet Learning. Like John had said, we are really focused on ensuring that people are able to meet their career goals. We're just wanting to invest in people from a human capital perspective, and ensuring that people are able to become better versions of themselves, get the right knowledge and skills to make them successful in their career. And that's what we do. And taking that perspective into conversations today, we just quickly talk through the business analysis bootcamp, give you high level sort of overview in terms of what to expect, and then I guess I can now just listen to you, hear your feedback. So yes, this is supposed to be chapter 1, bootcamp style, business analysis or CBA bootcamp style from BNet. Would have a general introduction, then go into chapter 1. So typically you will have had a class, and then maybe the second class will be when you start to see this. But this is where the conversation really is when it comes to core business analysis. I thought we should start here. So one thing you should know is that there's a body called International Institute of Business Analysis that sort of provides governance and sort of provide guidelines and some form of guide for practice of business analysis. And because we're sort of a partner with IIBA, so we follow the IIBA standard, and the standard itself is called the BABOK, which is a guide to business analysis practice. But again, the BABOK means business analysis body of knowledge. All right. Okay. So what else? So I think we should also look at some general definition of business analysis. I would always tell people, whether within bootcamp or just when I'm having conversations, fireside chats, that whilst you are able to understand the textbook knowledge for business analysis, you should also come up with your own sort of definition for business analysis. Okay, so yeah, Babok says it's about defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver values to stakeholders. I think you would agree with me just from the video we watched that if there was a business analyst in the midst of that whole situation, the outcome would and should have been different. Value should have been delivered to the woman, and she won't have had to invest and not get what she wanted. So yes, it's about delivering value to stakeholders. It's about working with stakeholders to ensure you understand what their problems are, so that when we're delivering value, we're delivering the right type of solutions to meet their problems and all that. It says here, articulate needs and rationale for change. It also says it's about design and describe for solutions. So part of what you would delve into the bootcamp is talking about what business analysis is, what it is not, because there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of say distraction. That just there's so many things out there. But we try to just give you a very straight line, clear perspective into what it is. Also, we have what they call the perspective, and these are like the different say areas or domains, if you may, that business analysis can be practiced. I can tell you that this list is not exhaustive in any way. There are still definitely more domains, but at least IIB has just sort of spotlighted is that do you want to find yourself in an agile environment where you're probably working with product owners, working with Scrum Masters, working with release train engineers? Yes, you can bring your business analysis practice to play, the knowledge you'll have gathered from the bootcamp, then business intelligence. You want to be working more with data, providing data insight into to help businesses, organizations to make better decisions, to make sense of the data that organizations are having, intuitive insight and all that. So that will talk to business intelligence. And then you can also bring your business analysis game here. Information technology, yes, a lot of people, part of the noise that you hear today is that people think business analysis is about tech. It is not. Yes, there's a heavy bias in tech for business analysis, but I can tell you that it's not just about tech. But yes, you can also be in tech and you want to transit, you want to make a shift into tech, for example. Yes, business analysis is definitely very relevant here. Business architecture, also looking at business blueprint, looking at business models, ensuring that you're able to sort of get to the point where you can provide what they call qualitative advisory to business and to sort of C-level executives on how to achieve business growth and all that. Business analysis plays a big fundamental part in business architecture. And this is something I do more in my recent career. Then business process management is also talking about a process flow focused, from a business analysis perspective. So there are some BAs that are focused on processes, looking at operational processes, business processes, coming up with what they call visualization of process, using different tools and techniques. I don't want to bore you. But yeah, there are different tools and techniques like the stream value map, like the CPOC, Lean Six Sigma and all that, BAs that play within this business process management space can actually sort of use to. But some of those things we'll discuss again in details in the bootcamp. So who's a business analyst? Anyone that performs business analysis activities, right? It says it aligns designs, and anyone that also works to align designs, deliver solutions to business or stakeholders within certain contexts. Again, business analysis is a practice. It's just not a job role. So one of the takeaways that you should have today from this session is that there are multiple job roles that, sort of have their part to play in business analysis world. So you can be business architecture, like we saw business architecture then. So you can be a business architect, you can be a business system analyst, meaning you're working in tech. You can be a data analyst, for example, and you saw business intelligence up there. You can be a consultant, process analyst, you can be product manager, product owner, and it's not Texas. That's why you see the 3 dots here, so it's quite broad. But what you will see that the tools, the techniques, the competencies within business analysis will also still help you to become more effective and quite successful within those roles. All right. Can everyone hear me? And do you have any questions? If you have questions, just drop them in the chat here as we are going. You don't need to wait for me. I'm just doing a run through to give you a high-level introduction into some of the things you will see when you come into the bootcamp and some of the further details we're going to have. Okay, thanks for the response. So yeah, the key concept just talks to the key terminologies that you should be aware of for you to be able to, one, understand the BABOK, which is the business analysis body of knowledge, and two, for you to be able to ensure that you have what it takes to be a professional. You can speak the lingo, right? You can go for business analysis community event, for example, and you're not lost in the conversation. So that's one of the things key concept talks about. So you start to see common words used in the BABOK, so it can help you comprehend while reading. And also you're able to use those key terms in conversations where it is required. And it also just gives you that stint where maybe you are going for a business analysis interview, for example, the things to say, the right words. But when people are also trying to test whether you are professional enough, they're asking you about some key terms within the BABOK or within the practice. You're able to elaborate and flow and communicate at that level. So those are some of the things that understanding the key terms would really do for you. All right. But again, we're going to go into details. I guess this is one very important part to talk through. So the BABOK itself, is made up of, I would really say 3 sections, but by extension, I can say 4. So one part of this section is the knowledge areas. And the knowledge areas, which is called KAs for short, are the main parts for the practice of business analysis. Is somebody's hand up? Okay. I guess not. All right. So like I was saying, so I would say the BABOK is divided into 3 main parts, and by extension 4. So we have the knowledge areas, right? We have what they call underlying competencies, which is more like the skills, the ethical practices that business analysis should be aware of, the soft skills that you should have, and somewhat even the hard skills that you should have to be successful from a practice. So that's another part called underlying competencies. And then we have the techniques, right? We have the techniques, and techniques are just really the different ways that you can sort of, let's say the tools. Let me make it that simple. The tools you would need to carry out business analysis tasks. That's technique. So we have a section devoted to technique, and then we have more like an extension, but it's also there. And it's not that you shouldn't pay attention to it, but again, it's there as more like an addendum, which is the perspective. And we've seen the perspective now as we started this session. So the perspective, let me go back to it. Our 5 perspective, and there's also a section in the BABOK. These are the 5 perspectives: the agile, business intelligence, information technology, business. So these 5 are called perspective, and again, it's just looking at the different domains that you can deploy your business analysis skills and understanding to add value, right? So yeah, we have that as the 4th part of the BABOK. But however, looking at these 4 parts, the knowledge areas are the most important, because at the end of the day, this is what IIB expect that you understand. for the purpose of, practice in business analysis, and 2 for the purpose of getting certified, right? Writing the exams and passing. You need to understand the case. In fact, I can tell you already that these knowledge areas are what IBA would say are the reference for the exam and for the grading of the exam. So for example, a typical exam taker, or a typical exam taker, or someone that writing the exam, once you get your results notification from IBA, you would get it will be distilled into these 6 knowledge areas. So what you will see is that BAPM, what did you score? You get your grade for BAPM. That's the first one there, business analysis, planning and monitoring. Then you see the grade for adaptation and collaboration, requirement lifecycle management, strategy analysis, requirement analysis and design definition. And so you see, oh, you got higher comparable. Like I'll show you what it looks like when exam takers get notification of their exam results, which is usually instant. So it tells you that the K is so fundamental to what IB expects from anybody that will be interacting with the BABOK for the purpose of certification, for example. It doesn't mean that the other part or section of the BABOK is less important. It's very important. Yeah, it's very important. It's very for reference, for practice. Today, I still consult even the BABOK after many years of going through the BABOK. If I have any challenge, for example, or I'm even mentoring and I want to get some form of clarity, I go back to BABOK just for reference. So that's what it is. It will be a really, say, lifelong reference, if you may. But for purpose of passing the exam, you must really acquaint yourself, have what they call detailed appreciation. That's the word, appreciation of the knowledge areas, which are 6, and you can see them here. Then one of the things I will just go into after this is to show you the sort of weight that each of these knowledge areas have from an exam point of view, an exam perspective. So all these knowledge areas, for example, the CBAP exam, you get 120 questions, objective questions, but those questions are some sort distilled into these 6 knowledge areas in different weights or weightage. So you see that 13% is like for BAPM, 30% is for RODD, and then it's distributed. So if you go into any CBAP exam any given day, you know that 30% of the total 120 questions you're going to get, and that comes up to like 40, if I think, it's coming from requirement analysis and design definition. So you can sort of map up yourself as you are studying, reading, getting ready, even coming to the boot camp. You can start to map yourself in terms of getting ready for the exam, because you know how the exam questions are distilled into the knowledge areas. You know what to expect. You know how to sort of create your own study structure. So let me go there, and then we can somewhat come back. Okay. I think it's not here. Let me check. Okay. Give me a minute. Let me just try to see that distribution so that you can add more context to this conversation. Okay, this is it. So this is the distribution I was talking about. Can everybody see my screen? I would assume yes. Or someone has complained. So you can see the distribution. Yes, you get 120 questions. The exam is for 3 hours, but you see that for the first knowledge area, 14% of that total 120 question is actually assigned to BAPM, which is the first K. Then 12%, whatever that comes up to, if you sort of put that on 120, will come from E&C. 15%, that would be like say 20, will come from this. Another 15% will come from strategy analysis. 15% from RLCM, then a whooping 30% will come from RADD, and 14% from solution evaluation. So what you're going to get from the bootcamp basically is that we're going to, yes, go into details of the 6 knowledge areas, even talk about the other section of BABOK, and then we'll sort of walk you through some of the exam techniques also. We'll also practice some simulation questions in class to sort of test your understanding of what has been taught, and also just sort of trigger you to read more and get ready for the exam. So let me pause here. Do we have any questions? Any questions, any additions, any concerns you might have had before even this section about business analysis, that you want to bring up? This might be a good time. You have my attention. Okay, well, I'll say it's none for now. How about others on the, for others, any questions? Are we all good? Is everybody following? Okay, Carlos, I'll ask all the others. Okay, that's fine. So I guess let me just continue then. All right. So like I said, we're going to go into the knowledge areas in some very detailed level, and this is what it will look like. So when we take one knowledge area, we look at the purpose of that knowledge. No, so we'll take a knowledge area. Each knowledge area have like tasks under them. So for example, I can tell you that since you know that there are 6 knowledge areas, there are also 30 tasks. And knowledge areas, imagine knowledge areas at the high level, and each knowledge area has its own task. So BAPM, which is business analysis, planning, and monitoring, for example, has 5 tasks, right? E&C has 5, RLCM has 5, solution, strategy analysis has 4, RADD has 6, no wonder is 30%, right? So RADD has 6, and then solution evaluation, which is SE, has another 5. So if you had everything together, 4 of those knowledge areas have 5 tasks, that's 20. One has 4, another one has 6, that's another 10. So you see that it's 30. Now, when we take one of those tasks, for example, say in BAPM, the first task is plan business analysis approach. We're going to look at the purpose of that task. We're going to look at the definition. We're going to look at the input. What, as a BA, what do you need to be able to perform that task effectively? You resume job, day 0, they give you a task, and the task is seen to be under plan business analysis monitoring, plan and monitoring, meaning you're putting together a plan for a task that you've been assigned to as a BA on a project, on a maybe digital transformation initiative, on whatever it is. What are the inputs you need? What are the things you should consider in terms of elements, things that will make your work easy? What are the guidelines and tools that you must follow to be ensure that you get something that the end result is productive, is valuable, and it supports the expectation? What are the techniques you would need to be successful on that task? Who are the stakeholders you should be thinking about to engage, either for support, for accountability, responsibility, to communicate, and all that? Who are the stakeholders you should engage on that task? What is the expectation of the output? So that's how we're going to go through it. So those 30 tasks, like I told you, for example, distributed along the case, we're going to be going through it in details and then discussing, those following this presentation format, and then to be interactive and bring questions up, we answer, we sort of link it to case studies also, tell you about some very simple, relatable, real life practical examples and interactions of some of what we're going to be discussing here. Like I told you, there's underlying competencies, which you're going to see also. There's techniques and there's perspective and structure. Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to rest it there, right? And I would say it's really a tip of the iceberg, yeah. And be sure that there's a lot of details, there's a lot of engagement, interactions, questions, conversations, practical scenario that would somewhat bring to bear in the boot camp. And yes, would ensure that you are definitely ready, you are more knowledgeable. Like I always tell people when we have this kind of conversation, whether they have registered for the boot camp or with just maybe a mentoring session, you know some stuff already. You would see that a lot of what you know find some form of place or alignment in what IB is saying also, but you would leave the boot camp having what they call structured knowledge, a more professional confidence about what business analysis is. You're able to speak about it more maturely, more confidently. You're probably able to now attend and be successful at interviews, and all that, because now you know what a global practice or a global standard and that is reference for global practice of business analysis says. That's what the bootcamp will really do for you and prepare you for the exam. And one thing that I can also assure you that even after the bootcamp, we would normally have engagement. We have like a community where you'll be added on Slack, and the faculty members are always providing support to boot campers that are in the community for the purpose of writing the exam and ensuring that they're able to achieve those goals on time. So you would always get us coming to sort of prod you, oh, what's up? Why have you not written your exam? Because typically that's sometimes that I know we can't help it, but people just fall into some form of procrastination because of competing demands from life, right? But yes, we're going to support you to be able to be sure that you're able to achieve those goals and you're better off. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to end it here and take questions. If there are any, please let me know.
Thank you, Damola. That was very insightful. So yeah, I mean, he said it though. If you have any questions from your end, now is the time to ask it. Just to let you know that this boot camp starts on the 11th of November, 2023. So next weekend. So if you have any questions regarding the boot camp, please feel free to ask now, and we'll be able to answer your question. And also, just to inform you that we are also extending a 10% discount training fees, like in celebration of Global Business Analysis Day. Global Business Analysis Day was the 1st of November. So in celebration of that, we are giving everybody on this call a 10% discount to join that upcoming bootcamp. If you are interested, so I'm going to post a link in the chat. Please just fill the link. We will get back to you. I know the purpose of this session was to just tell you about the bootcamp. So if you need more clarification, please feel free to ask now, and we'll be sure to definitely give you answers for that. So yeah, do we have any questions from anyone?
So I think Oluwakade said he will ask a question towards the end of the section. He has a question, so maybe we can hear his question. We can start with him.
Good evening. It's
Okay.
not a question, it's just and I just needed a suggestion. So I don't know. Mike could come in as last. It's a personal thing, it's not anything that has to do with what you've said. You said everything point blank and they are well straightforward. But I just needed a direction and advice. That's why I said I'll ask it at the end of the class.
Okay, so you prefer to just wait and maybe after everybody has asked questions, but do people have questions? Because if there are no questions, you can just go ahead and except you want to do it one-on-one.
I think that okay. I don't mind one-on-one. If one-on-one is going to be there, I don't mind doing that one-on-one.
Okay. Um, that's fine. You can please just fill the form in the chat, and we'll be sure to arrange a one-on-one session with our facilitators or training manager for you to answer your question. Thank you very much for that. Do we have any other questions that regards the bootcamp?
Anyway,
From any
this is
other
what I
person?
let me okay maybe instead of me going through. Can I talk?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. The question I want to ask is, I'm new to business analysis. I don't really know much about it because I studied sociology first in my first degree, and in my master's now I just finished with procurement and supply chain management. So I was trying to really understand. That's why I was trying to really understand what part of the business analysis are you supposed to go into. Because some people say data analysis, some people say PMP, project management. So I wanted to be sure to get an advice from a professional who would also. And then another challenge I know I have myself is one of the things that got me back was I felt business analysis has to do with calculations. But when I spoke with a friend of mine, I don't know if you know him, his name is Oyad, he was one who told me about this. He's in Oman. Oyad didn't know, we're classmates, went to school together. So Oyad was the one who now said, no, it's not really about calculation. That though there might be some little calculations about it. So that's what I'm trying to really understand and know. This is one of the things I wanted to discuss with you. That's why I said it's a little bit personal because I understand some of the things you said, which are in a layman's understanding, but in you going into a deep organization to know, because I have a master's in procurement and supply chain management.
Okay, awesome. I think this conversation will benefit everyone on the call, just in case they also have that. I can tell you already that business analysis will benefit you. One, it's a very broad practice and domain, right? I can tell you for a fact that I've trained. I've been trained since 2018, right? And I've trained, sizable number of professionals within Nigeria and across. I can tell you that I've trained pharmacists, I've trained HR practitioners, I've trained people in data. Just mention it. I've trained people in supply chain, for example, logistics. There's somebody that I trained from Bolore. Bolore is like they are a logistic company basically, but I think based in Italy. But they have a outlet in Apapa, and I mean, just mention it. People in security and all that. It is because business analysis value spectrum cuts across anything business. Just the word business analysis, and you would agree with me that there is hardly anything you're doing from a venture point of view that you don't want to some sort of have better business outcomes or even look at some outcomes from a business perspective. And that's why business analysis now it's so adaptable to any field. It's something like, it's almost like what you need in any field you are. I've trained auditors, right? I remember there were a couple of, there was somebody that joined my class sometimes 2018. I think one of the last class I had before the end of the year. And when he went back to work, I think I was working at Stanbic IBTC at the time, and then decided becoming a high flyer because of the business analysis tools, techniques, and understanding. Took back to work. Almost all the department came back, to take the bootcamp and subscribe to the bootcamp and all that. So I would say, for example, supply chain, there is vendor management risk in the BABOK, right? And how to be able to understand just your risk from a vendor supplier point of view, how to sort of mitigate those risks and have risk responses, adaptive risk responses, and somebody else might be technology in that class where that does not speak to that person. But for you that you're in supply chain, for example, and you're in vendor management, supplier management, and you're in risk from that point, it speaks to you and you start to, oh, okay, so this is how I can use this. So I would say it's very broad. It sort of just fixes and aligns well to almost any practice within the business spectrum. Does that make sense? And also even extensive. A lot of the business analysis tools, techniques today, I use them in my personal life. A lot of the BA, certified BAs that I know and just professional BAs will say, this thing is more than business. So active listening, some social intelligence, social capital, a lot of things that can be borrowed even into your own personal life just to become a more effective, more rounded person. So yeah, that's what business analysis is about. I'll say that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does very, very well. But I think I still need to have some more conversations with you privately.
Okay, that's
Which
fine.
will help me along.
That's fine. That's fine. No worries at all. So, like John just said, fill the form.
I filled the form already.
Okay.
And I filled the form, and if I can't get a hold of you, I'm going to call Oyad. So Oyad is going to help me to provide you. So
now, Oyad,
yes.
What's his full name?
Oyad. We used to just call him Oyad. Just a minute, let me check. Oyad, we went to school together. He's in Oman right now. No, he went to Bowen.
Okay.
He used to work in Access Bank in Nigeria before he left.
Okay, I'm sure I will know him. I've trained like
just a minute, I'll get it for you now. Oyad, that's not a problem.
All right, no worries. We can definitely do the connect. I'm sure.
Yeah. Definitely get that meeting up for you. Thank you for your contribution. I hope others have filled the form. I know Wahab has filled the form. Who else is on the call? Let me see.
I have filled the form already. So you can check.
Just a minute. Okay. Thank you for that. All right. Kehinde Folarin, have you filled the form? I just want to confirm. I know you're on the call.
Hi, John. I think Abba said, can you share a document or link to the document about the costs? I don't know whether you want to attend to that.
Yes, I replied. I said I replied him. Okay. Yeah, Kehinde, have you filled the form? I know Dan is on the call too. Just want to make sure you guys saw the form to fill. Our training manager will get in touch with you with lots more comprehensive details about the bootcamp and how we can get started. Like I said before, everybody on this call in celebration of Global Business Analysis Day gets a 10% discount for an upcoming training. So it's been wonderful. It's been great having you all on the call. I just want to thank for that wonderful session. Like I said, the upcoming Business Analysis Bootcamp starts on the 11th of November. It promises to be very, very, very a very interesting one. So you do not want to miss it. Also, it is our last CBAP Bootcamp for the year 2023. So you do not want to miss that. Thank you, Damola, for sharing your insights and expertise with us today. It was a pleasure having you here. I also want to thank all of you for attending the session today. Your participation and engagements made this session a success. Once again, if you have any further questions or need more information about our services, please visit our website or contact us through our social media platforms. Social media platforms is @BNet Learning. So thank you all for joining us today, and we hope to see you in the bootcamp. Have a nice day. Thank you, Damola.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, John. Bye.
Can you hear me? Shut this guy.
Yeah, Kayode, you're saying something?
Yeah, I said I was trying to get the name that Damola asked me. His name is on